Welcome back to another video on my channel. This video is going to be like yesterday's. It's going to be basically when I'm going to talk about my top 10 players in the world of football right now. And these top 10 players, in my opinion, have the potential. As you can see, young players with potential. This is a cool little website. You can basically do like little lists and whatnot. I've put 10 players in here, which I think, in my opinion, are big players who've got a lot of potential in the future. If you disagree with me, please let me know in the comment section below and say what 10 players or a few players that you agree with or you disagree with that have a potential. And let's click in here and let's have a little look at it. So there's going to be 10 players in here, and I'm going to be explaining why each of these players, in my opinion, have potential. So I've picked a lot of players that a lot of people will probably agree with. So here we are. Here is the list. So at number one, I put Paul Pogba. Now, he was our favourite at Manchester United. That's why he was sold. But since he's gone to Juventus, he's really, shone. And he's one of the world youngest, young players with a lot of potential now in world football. And in my opinion, it was a big mistake Man United selling him because he's been a fantastic player recently and has been a player that, in my opinion, is just going to get better and better and possibly lead France later in the future, obviously, because he is a French and he could probably lead the French 11 going into the future. And he's quite young as well, obviously, so he has a lot of potential. So moving on, we have Eden Hazard at Chelsea, another player that I feel has a lot of potential. I mean, he's a player that's calm, in my opinion. When he went to a game, he forgot his passport, not to go back to London. He wasn't allowed to play. He was calm. He didn't. His name was in the media and everything. He didn't kick off. He didn't. And in my opinion, that's why I like Hazard. And I think on the pitch, he's just so cool and composed. And he's got to be one of the Chelsea's main vocal points in a few years to come, and one of Belgium's future stars, if you want to call him that. I know there's a lot of other players as well, but in my opinion, Hazard one of the main vocal points in the Belgian team, and he's just a very cool and composed player and a player who you don't see a lot in the headlines. Moving on, we have Memphis Depay. He is at PSV Eindhoven, and this isn't technically in chronological order. It's just my opinion. These players have a lot of potential. So moving on, Memphis Depay or Depay, I'm not sure how you say it properly. Do apologise. Memphis Depay, in my opinion, is a very good player who's actually been linked to Manchester United, but he's also a player you don't see a lot about. But he's been doing really well for PSV, this season, and I think he's a captain. Don't get me wrong in saying he's been a very prolific player for them this season, and I think he's just going to get better with years to come. I think a move to the Premier League really suits him because, in my opinion, moving to the Premier League would just make him an even better player than he is at the moment at PSV, and he full well deserves a place in this list. Moving on, we have Raheem Sterling, who could be joining Real Madrid in the summer, but I think Sterling still has to prove himself. But at the moment, he's doing quite well at Liverpool. He just needs to get his head down, forget about the rumours, forget about the contract he's on, and just play until it's time to sort out contract and everything. Because when Sterling gets his head in my opinion, he can be a fantastic player and he can be quite prolific and quite a good source in any team, to be honest. And I think Liverpool should look to keep hold of him because just like all of these players in this list, I think he's got a lot of potential and a player who is possibly going to be leading England a few years to come because he's obviously quite young as well, and he's a player who's going to be, like I said, a main vocal point to Liverpool's future. Moving on, we have Raphael Varane. He's at Real Madrid, another French player, centre-back. And I think the way he's been playing this season, been doing quite well. Not getting out and out games, but maybe he could be loaned to maybe a Premier League team or something. Because I think he could maybe replace Pepe or Sergio Ramos in years to come. He's a very strong centre back. He's quite quick and he's good at making quick tackles and thinking quickly and everything when you've got players running at him. And in my opinion, he is an excellent player who could also, be a vocal point of France's future because they've got a lot of young players. They've got Griezmann as well, one player who's not in my top 10, but, he's a player I think has got a lot of potential. And Varane is another one of those just really good French stars. And France have actually got a lot of, players coming into the system who've got a heck of a lot of potential, in my opinion. Moving on, we have Romelu Lukaku. Now, I've heard rumours that he could be going to the Bundesliga, I think, or maybe the Italian league. I don't think, like with Sterling, he hasn't really fully hit his potential yet. He may need to stay at Everton for another season or two to really prove himself, show he can be a consistent player because he hasn't been that consistent, really. I mean, he sort of hat-trick against Young, which is quite nice to see, but you need to see the out-and-out performances from someone who's got the physical and the bruteness of Lukaku, because he could be fighting with Benteke for that number one striker position for Belgium if he keeps getting his head down and playing really well. In my opinion, he full well deserves a spot in this top 10, and he's a very prolific striker who just needs to keep up the consistent performances that he's putting in. So moving on, we now have Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at Arsenal, of a younger player who's got a lot of potential now. I think he is also, like a lot of these players, really needs to get their head done in my opinion, can be a future star, because Oxlade-Chamberlain is quite quick. He's a bit like Walcott, maybe. He could be the next Walcott, to be honest. He's quick. He's good at, thinking in tight places and everything, tight positions. And he just needs to, prove Arsene Wenger that he can be a good player, because he could also, be like a lot of the young bunch of English players coming into the national squad and everything. And I think Oxlade-Chamberlain could be one of those players if he keeps getting his head down and really concentrating on his football, and maybe beating players ahead of him like Walcott and Sanchez. I know obviously they're quite big name players, but if he gets his head down, plays consistently, he could be fighting with them for position in the Arsenal squad. So moving on, we have Juan Fernando Quintero. He plays for FC Porto. He is a Colombian central attacking midfielder. I've not heard much rumours about him, but I've heard a little bit about him, and he's been doing quite well for Porto at the moment, linking up well with players like Vincent Abubakar and Jackson Martinez. But Quintero is a player who could be maybe the next James Rodriguez for Colombia. You can't really compare to him yet with James Rodriguez, but he's, as long as he be consistent with all the other players, I think he'd be a big vocal point to Colombia's future, and I think he'd do quite well in the Premier League team as well. But he might go to the Bundesliga or the Italian. But I haven't heard much about Quintero, but I feel he deserves a position in his top 10, because he is a quite out of that player. I've seen him every now and then, and he's just been quite consistent in the matches that I've seen him playing, especially against Sporting and Benfica, a lot of the big name teams in Portugal. So moving on, we have Ross Barkley. He's the penultimate player in this top 10. Obviously, this is just based on my opinion. Ross Barkley is another one of England's big future young stars. Sometimes he can be quite a consistent player. He can make quick passes. He scored quite a lot of nice goals before as well. I'm not sure. It might have been against West Brom. He scored a really nice goal from outside the box. And he's one of the players, just like the next player coming up. He's one of England's future stars. And I think he just needs to be a bit more consistent as well. And, Roberto Martinez said, manager of Everton, he could fit into the England team as well if he's a bit more consistent. And the final player, we have Luke Shaw. Obviously, a lot of hype was under him after he transferred from Southampton to Manchester United. He hasn't been, out and out yet playing, because I think he's been injured. But when he comes back, trust me, I think if he keeps playing and doing his stuff, because I know they're playing Daley Blind at left back right now, if he works hard and everything, he too will be future English star. Obviously, Ashley Cole. He's got Ashley Cole, Leighton Baines in front of him, but he's quite young. He's got a lot of potential, and he could be there for years to come. Obviously, if he sorts himself out and everything. So that has been my top 10, in my opinion, of players that have a lot of potential, players who could do really well in years to come. Let me know if you'd like more videos like this, and let me know if you agree with any of the players I've said and reasons why. But I think the top three you can't really argue about. Pogba, Hazard, and Depay are really big name players who just are at the top of their game right now. And Paul Pogba, Man United fans might not like me saying this, but it was a huge mistake selling, because he's just sprung to life. I know PSG, Chelsea, United even interested in him again. Are big name teams after him. So anything could happen with Pogba. But let me know what you think about this video. Please like it, and have a very nice rest of your Wednesday, and stay safe, and I will see you tomorrow for maybe another video. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be on, but I'm going to go and have a very nice rest of your day, and like the video and subscribe to my channel for further uploads like this. I'll see you later. Have a very nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.